There is a lie you've been told, a lie repeated so many times that it became the foundation of your pain, your confusion, and that feeling of inadequacy you carry in your chest. They told you that, in this story, you are the fragile one. They told you that your empathy, your capacity to feel deeply, to give of yourself, to forgive, is a flaw, an open door for abuse. And for a long time, you believed the narcissist was the all-powerful predator, and you were the helpless prey who had the misfortune of crossing his path. But what if I told you that, in the depths of this person's disordered psyche, the reality is exactly the opposite? The narcissist didn't choose you because you are weak. He chose you because you possess something he will never have, something he desperately envies, and, at the same time, something that terrifies him to his very core. There's a reason he tried to destroy your self-esteem with such ferocity. It wasn't because you lacked value. It was because your value shone so brightly that it threatened to blind the darkness where he lives. You may have walked away from that relationship feeling broken, but in the narcissist's mind, you remain a haunting presence. Today, we're going to flip the script. We're going to decode the hidden dynamic that turns the empath, you, not into the perfect victim, but into the ultimate nightmare, the definitive existential threat to any narcissist. Get ready to understand why, deep down, he was always afraid of, was always, you. My name is Lauren Mitchell. My purpose with this channel is to show you that the problem was never you, and more importantly, that you are not alone. Let's start by deconstructing the beginning of it all. You remember how it was, the intensity, the speed, the feeling that you had finally found, someone who saw you. It felt like a fairy tale, but in reality, it was a reconnaissance mission. The narcissist is, by definition, an empty being. Imagine a house with a beautiful facade, painted in gold, but inside there is no furniture, no walls, no floor. It is an endless abyss. To keep from collapsing in the face of this terrifying void, he needs fuel. He needs reactions, emotions, and the vitality of others to feel alive. This is where you come in. You aren't just a person who feels a lot. As an empath, you are an emotional power plant. You have your own light, an innate capacity for regeneration, compassion, and genuine human connection. When the narcissist looked at you, he didn't see a partner. He saw a high-voltage battery. He saw an inexhaustible source of narcissistic supply. Many victims ask themselves, why did he do this to me if all I gave was love? The harsh answer is, exactly for that reason. He needed that love not to reciprocate it, but to consume it. He needed your light to sustain his mask. However, this hunt brings with it the first paradox that begins to turn his dream into a nightmare. At the same time that he craves your light, he hates it. Think about it. You represent everything he failed to be. Your ability to be vulnerable and true is a constant reminder of his own falseness. In the beginning, during the love-bombing phase, he tries to mimic you. He copies your tastes, your dreams, your empathy. He tries to wear your skin, but it's an exhausting performance. You felt deep down that something was off, didn't you? That subtle intuition, that voice saying, this is too good to be true, or why does he seem like he's acting? That was your first defense being activated, and the narcissist noticed. He realized that to keep you around and extract your energy, he would have to work twice as hard. He would need to break you before you discovered the charade. The narcissist's nightmare starts here, with the realization that he captured a prey that is, intrinsically, superior to him in humanity. He brought a human lie detector into his home, and from that moment on, his life becomes constant crisis management to prevent you from seeing who he really is. Deepening our analysis, we reach the first major reason why you are his nightmare. You are a mirror that cannot be turned off. The narcissist lives in a fabricated reality. He built a false self, a grandiose, perfect, and infallible persona to hide the wounded, ashamed, and hate-filled child that exists deep down. His psychological survival depends on everyone around him believing this lie. If the lie falls, he falls. Now, put an empath into this equation. You have the natural ability to read micro-expressions, to feel the energy of the room, to notice when words don't match actions. Even when you were confused, being manipulated by gaslighting, you asked questions. Remember those fights that seemed to make no sense? You'd ask, why did you lie about something so small? Or, why did you treat me that way in front of our friends? To you, these were questions seeking clarity and resolution. To him, They were lethal attacks. When you look at a narcissist with your empathic eyes, you inadvertently look right through him. You see the insecurity behind the arrogance. You see the fear behind the rage. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that terrifies a narcissist more than being seen. This is why his reactions were so disproportionate. Narcissistic rage wasn't just anger, it was panic. It was the panic of someone standing, naked in a public square, desperately trying to cover up. Every time you tried to have a grown-up conversation about feelings, you were forcing him to look into his inner abyss. You became a constant reminder of his inadequacy. He looked at you and saw his own shame reflected back. And because a narcissist cannot process shame, because it would destroy the false self, he must project that shame onto you. He started criticizing you, belittling your achievements, attacking your appearance or your sanity. You're crazy. You're too sensitive. You're making things up. Understand this. He wasn't describing you. He was trying to break the mirror. He needed you to feel small, dirty, and wrong, so that he could feel big, clean, and right. But his nightmare is that no matter how hard he hits the mirror, the truth is still there. As long as you are around, with your capacity for analysis and feeling, he will never be safe in his illusion. He is sleeping with the enemy, and the enemy is the truth you carry. The second pillar of this nightmare lies in the economy of supply. The narcissist is an emotional parasite. He doesn't generate self-esteem. He steals it. He doesn't generate joy. He drains it. He is dependent on the external environment to regulate every emotion he feels. If no one applauds him, he doesn't exist. If no one fears him, he has no power. You, on the other hand, have an internal nuclear reactor. Even after all the abuse, all the sleepless nights, all the psychological terror, you still manage to find moments of genuine joy, maybe playing with your dog, listening to a song, or helping a friend. You have the capacity to regenerate. You have an authentic self. This generates a corrosive and pathological envy in the narcissist. He cannot understand how you, whom he tries to destroy every day, can still smile, how you can still have hope. This resilience of the empath is torturous for him. He wants to control you completely, but your soul remains out of reach. He can control your schedule, your clothes, your friendships, but he cannot control your essence, and it drives him crazy. This is where the fear of abandonment comes in, but not abandonment as we understand it. The narcissist isn't afraid of losing you as a person. He is afraid of losing the supply you provide. And an empath is grade A supply. You offer him a level of devotion, care, and tolerance that he knows he will hardly find elsewhere. Most normal people would have left at the first sign of disrespect. You stayed. You tried to fix him. You gave him the benefit of the doubt. To him, you are a resource too valuable to lose, but too dangerous to keep free. It's a constant dilemma. He needs to devalue you to feel superior, but if he destroys you completely, the battery dies, and he's left without supply. He lives on a razor's edge, trying to keep you weak enough so you won't leave, but functional enough to keep serving him. But his biggest fear is that one day, you will realize you don't need him for anything, that you are the source, and he is just the drain. The moment the empath realizes her self-sufficiency, the power dynamic inverts instantly. We reach the height of the narcissistic nightmare, the moment he has tried to avoid at all costs since day one. Your awakening. There is a concept called the supernova empath. It happens when the empath, after enduring unimaginable abuse, exhausts their capacity for tolerance. The switch flips. The compassion that was once directed at the narcissist is suddenly redirected toward themselves. When this happens, the reaction isn't just a fight, it's an explosion of cold, calculated truth. The narcissist is used to your emotional reactions. The crying, the pleading, the long explanations, all of that is supply for him. It tells him, I matter, she is still invested in me. He feeds on your desperation. But the nightmare happens when you stop reacting. When you discover what he is, a personality disorder, a predictable pattern, a fraud, you lose respect. And without respect, there is no emotion. You enter the ultimate gray rock state, but it goes further. The discard carried out by an awakened empath is devastating for the narcissist. It is a surgical cut. Unlike him, who discards to manipulate and then tries to come back, hoovering. The empath, when she closes the door, welds it shut. An empath's silence is deafening. For a narcissist, being ignored is worse than being hated. Hate is a connection. Indifference is death. When you withdraw your attention, you withdraw his oxygen. He collapses. He tries everything. Smear campaigns, promises of change, threats, crying. But when you see his true face, these tactics look like cheap theater. He loses control. And a narcissist without control is a terrified creature. He knows, deep down, that he lost the best thing he ever had. He knows that your light will shine somewhere else, and he will remain in the darkness he created himself. The narcissistic injury caused by your final departure is a wound that fully heals in his ego. He will be forced to seek lower quality supply, always comparing, always knowing he failed to tame the only person who truly saw him. You need to integrate this truth into your recovery. You weren't a victim because you were weak. You were a target because you were powerful. Your kindness, your empathy, and your light are not flaws that need to be fixed. They are the gold he tried to steal. Understanding that you are his nightmare isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your narrative. He tried to make you believe you wouldn't survive without him. The reality, it is he who cannot survive psychologically without parasitizing someone like you. You are the source. You always have been. Now that you know what he is, and more importantly, who you are, the game is over. He has no more power here. Take that light you tried to donate to a black hole and point it toward your own path. The best revenge, and the greatest terror for him, is to see you happy, whole, and above all, indifferent to his existence. You won, just by continuing to be you. Feel free to leave your story, your thoughts, or even a suggestion for the next video in the comments below. Access the link in the description to check out my ebook and the benefits of being a member of this channel. Click on the suggested video on the screen to stay with me and remember, you are light. Never forget to shine.